We want to remember that we are with us. Initially, we had some electrical challenges, but thank God it has now been resolved. Having said that, I will now pray with indulgence that we please rise for the parliamentary prayers. Let us please rise for prayer. Almighty God, without whose help labor is useless, without whose life search is vain, we that our bodies servants are gathered together in thy name, we most humbly beseech thee to send down the heavenly wisdom from above, to direct and guide us in all our deliberations, and laying aside all private interests, prejudices, and partial affections, the result of all our counsels may be to the glory of our blessed name. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to present to you somebody who is a lawyer. He is a second-term member of Parliament serving Bond District. He is currently the Deputy Speaker of the Parliament of the Republic of Sierra Leone, who is ably representing the substantive Speaker of the Parliament of the Republic of Sierra Leone. I now call on the Honourable Deputy Speaker of the Parliament of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Honourable Second Thomas, so please give us the welcome remarks.
Flag of Parliament, Honourable Members of Parliament, Ministers and officials of various MPAs represented here, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, members of the Fourth Estate, development partners, CSOs, staff of the Parliament of Sierra Leone, invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me take this opportunity to heartily welcome you all to this second edition of the Parliament of Sierra Leone Open Day event.
This particular event started last year. We introduced it last year, and today is the second edition of the Parliament Open Day. And the purpose of this Open Day is to bring the people of Sierra Leone closer to the Parliament of the Republic of Sierra Leone. You know, there are several misconceptions relating to the work of Parliament. Citizens generally, in fact, majority of citizens generally, do not really know the work of Parliament. As a result of their lack of knowledge, there is too much of misconception as to what Parliament does or what Parliament is expected to do. So the Open Day is an event that is meant to get the citizens to understand exactly our work and what we do here and what we are expected to do.
Academic institutions and citizens in general. Promoting parliamentary openness so that citizens can have access to more information that will better place them to understand and participate in the legislative process is a critical rationale for this event. In a bid to have a lasting relationship between Parliament and other legislative actors, we have decided to open up the space for better interaction and collaboration through this Open Day event, so that we demonstrate our commitment to enhance external participation in making Parliament more responsive to the needs and aspirations of citizens. As a responsive Parliament that is in tune with the expectations of the public, we want to promote a culture of openness and make parliamentary information transparent and easy to access. In essence, Parliament is committed to implement accountability mechanisms as instruments for evaluating public opinion and policies and the implementation of our parliamentary agenda. In a bid to strengthen the democratic accountability of the Parliament of Sierra Leone, it is important that citizens have access to parliamentary information, which can help to shape public expectations of the institution. Citizens' trust is critical. Citizens' trust in Parliament is critical to the functioning of our democracy and the promotion of effective governance. As a parliament, we have not lost sight of the fact that citizens are demanding more openness of governance institutions, more civic participation, and ways to increase transparency, responsiveness, accountability, and effectiveness. The international community is also recognizing that inclusive governance structures are intrinsically linked to our ability to achieve sustainable development. This is reflected in the 2030 agenda, specifically under Sustainable Development Goal 16, to promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective and accountable institutions in which women and historically marginalized groups are equitably represented, with their voices taken into account in decision-making at all levels. To further demonstrate our commitment to reach all citizens, Parliament will strive to ensure the venue for upcoming open day events will rotate across the various regions. Since Freetown alone does not constitute the total representation of our constituents, progress towards this ambition has been made this year to have satellite events taking place in the other 4 regions of the North, South, East, and Northwest. Civil society organizations, women's groups, the media, district council officials, and other government stakeholders and youth groups in these regions have all been invited to participate in satellite events that will be hosted in the district councils within the regional headquarters towns of Makeni, and Kenema. The opening ceremony we are witnessing here in Freetown has been linked directly to the regions, thereby enabling citizens out of Freetown to participate through the use of live virtual systems by the ICT department of the Parliament of Sierra Leone. Additionally, information about the workings of Parliament will be provided by senior parliamentary staff who are currently stationed in these regions. This year's Open Day event, like the first edition, will cover 3 days, the 5th to the 7th May 2022. It is expected that upon completion of the 3 days program, we will achieve the following outcomes: increased public understanding of the workings of Parliament, increased awareness and visibility for the Parliament of Sierra Leone, strategic engagement will be fostered between Parliament and its stakeholders, assurance of an open, accountable, and transparent Parliament, increased trust and confidence in Parliament by citizens, parliamentary information disseminated to inform future actions, credible and accurate information provided to the public about the Parliament of Sierra Leone, enhanced understanding of the constitutional role of MPs by citizens as against their expectations. At this juncture, may I take this opportunity to commend the efforts of those I will describe as behind-the-scene operatives of Parliament, our dynamic staff of the parliamentary service, who are working hard to ensure the efficiency and effectiveness of the Parliament of Sierra Leone. Their planning and execution of this event is a testimony to their dedication and commitment to support the parliamentary leadership deliver on its core mandate. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome to the Parliament of Sierra Leone, and we look forward to fruitful engagements within these 3 days as we work towards cementing the process of making our legislative institution transparent and responsive to the citizens' expectations. As you can see, Parliament is moving on. The Republic of Sierra Leone Parliament is moving on, and we hope to do more. I want to take this opportunity to thank our partners, the European Union, profusely for their hand in getting the e-Parliament on its feet. In the circumstances, I hereby, on behalf of Parliament, launch the e-Parliament.
To the issues of the leader of the opposition. You know, Sheldon Mali has almost 15 years experience and was Deputy Speaker, so I'll try to do my best. But first of all, I commend the leadership of Parliament and the staff for organizing this open house. I've had the privilege in my career to visit parliaments around the world, in a few cases, participate in events there. But the most memorable one for me is visiting Bundestag, and they explaining to me why in reconstructing the parliament in Berlin, they have this huge glass dome. And when you go in there, they give you a tour, and you see this glass where people can watch live events of MPs, because it's the people's house. So this parliament and the people they host, and I mean we invite you for camp, we and the leadership believes we will begin to introduce you to waiting Parliament mean. I see beaucoup small picking and I hope say some of them want be MP, they want be the honorable deputy speaker one day, or they want to have the KKY in the Parliament. Parliament not to talk to them. They think them all way deputy speaker don't say na English, I want to talk small, na Creole for them, or they say they on TV. They don't understand the work now. These are the people they host. These are the side who vote for people there, for talk for represent to now. A very powerful place. The president and the government will spend money if not approved. And we get that power there. Now we will not need that power. This country not will run if we not approve the minister there and other people that the president they appoint. Now we will do that money. I have the power there. This parliament now for being the house of accountability. We get what you call select committee and I am. Now we for check. When we don't give people money, minister money, now we for check how they spend money. The tax they own and they pay. This is a powerful host. But the most important thing when the deputy speaker say, now we make the law and this country.
The leader of the opposition, honourable ministers and deputy ministers, honourable members of parliament, members of the diplomatic corps and development partners, and most importantly, on an occasion like today, members of the public. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Hope Bentley. I'm the Development Director at the British High Commission, representing the UK's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. And it's a real privilege for me to be here with you today at the opening ceremony of the Parliamentary Open Day 2022, aimed at bringing more citizens closer to Parliament. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the Parliament of Sierra Leone for this initiative, which builds on previous Open Days. In fact, I had the honour of speaking at the opening ceremony of the Open Day back in 2019, and it's great to see the tradition continue and to hear about the satellite events that have been taking place in the regions. It really shows a continued commitment to openness, transparency and accountability to the citizens who this Parliament represents. All of those are vital ingredients for democracy and good governance. The UK strongly believes that democracy and development go hand in hand. An effective Parliament is essential to ensuring that there are the policies, laws and regulations in place that are needed to create jobs, deliver services, fight corruption, grow the economy and reduce poverty. An effective Parliament is also then essential to ensuring that government is delivering on its promises in the interests of the citizens of Sierra Leone. The UK and the Sierra Leone Parliament have long and historic links. Indeed, Her Majesty the Queen, who is marking her Platinum Jubilee, that is 70 years as monarch this year, opened Parliament here in 1961. We are proud to see those links continue today through support from two institutions, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association and the Westminster Foundation for Democracy. The Commonwealth Parliamentary Association serves as a bridge between our parliaments and regularly arranges two-way exchange visits and training. The last visit to Sierra Leone by UK parliamentarians was in 2019, but the last training was held virtually in 2021.
Honorable Deputy Speaker and Honorable Sir, permit me to now invite a representative of the European Union to please come forward and make a statement. The European Union has been very supportive to the Parliament of Sierra Leone and the Republic of Sierra Leone, given the 11th EDA form. Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Clerk of Parliament, Honorable Members of Parliament, leaders of government and opposition, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, adjourned to existing protocol. I'm truly delighted to join the Parliament today to celebrate the Open Day event, marking another milestone in deepening parliamentary democracy in the Republic of Sierra Leone. I would like to thank the Clerk of Parliament and its administration for the invitation to the European Union delegation to participate in this event. Honourable Deputy Speaker of Parliament, the fourth Parliament of the Second Republic of Sierra Leone envisions an independent and responsive legislator that contributes effectively towards national development. As European Union, we wish to recognize the efforts made by the current leadership to realize this vision and contribute towards an open, fair, transparent and accountable society for Sierra Leone. The role of Parliament in deepening Sierra Leone's democracy is evident in the strides being made in opening the doors of Parliament to citizens, enabling live streaming of parliamentary debates and establishing the first ever community website. Today's event provides a further opportunity to anchor the Parliament of Sierra Leone strategic vision, transparency, communication and outreach to the citizens of Sierra Leone. I understand we have even taken further steps to afford more citizens across the country access by relaying this occasion to the other provinces. The theme of the event couldn't have been better, appropriately chosen, and we want to acknowledge the leadership in taking parliamentary democracy to the doorsteps of the citizens. Honourable Clerk, the renewed 5-year strategic plan and the first ever communication strategy produced under your leadership and launched last week are highly commendable, and I wish to recognize that. We are most happy that Parliament has now a clear roadmap and framework to pursue its capacity building and institutional strengthening goals. I trust these strategies will enable this noble House to achieve its ambitious goals, to contribute effectively to the lawmaking process, represent citizens, and perform its oversight functions. As European Union, we are proud to have been able to partner in the formulation of these strategies and reaffirm our commitment towards supporting the implementation of such ambitious plans. Since 2018, the European Union has sought to support the Parliament of Sierra Leone, achieving its objectives and becoming more effective and efficient in discharging the functions it has under the Constitution. Since 2018, the European Union has provided an improved working environment and continuous capacity strengthening for members and staff of Parliament, contributing towards digitalization of the Parliament services the establishment and strengthening of the Parliament research and budgetary offices. We remain committed towards enhancing Parliament's role and performance, most notably in the legislative process, including improved delivery on gender equality, and look forward to continuing our engagement. Towards this end, we look with particular interest to the establishment of an effective legal department to further enhance the capacity and ownership of the legislative agenda in Parliament. Honourable Deputy Speaker, today's event is a testimony of a new culture which is developing at Parliament. A culture whereby members of Parliament have learned to dialogue with each other and together communicate to wider citizen and audience. I wish to encourage further efforts to sustain the cross-party dialogue and implement the vision which was agreed in 2019 through the commitment by all the leaders of the House to the famous Gold Declaration. I understand that the Parliament is undertaking internal assessment of progress made and to explore opportunities available to scale up implementation of the principles that were agreed at home. This is certainly a significant step forward, and the European Union will support you to implement the recommendation from this assessment. The lessons learned following the outcome of the 2018 elections with the Hung Parliament is certainly being implemented. Promoting greater dialogue and consensus through the self-reflection and assessment of opportunities to improve will have the support of the European Union. The EU will be ready to coordinate with other partners in Parliament to support leadership, to have further reflection together how to increase and sustain the gains and improve the gain before the next elections. We stand ready to support the facilitative role of the Gold Declaration and support all groups in this process. Honourable Deputy Speaker, in the same vein, your initiative to have the current standing orders reviewed is another commendable positive response to the Gold Declaration and will further enrich Sierra Leone's parliamentary democracy. Having an updated standing orders that is well informed of the citizens' expectation of their parliament in terms of representations is a Herculean task, but certainly achievable when the experience of ex-members of Parliament and former leaders of the House are tapped into. However, understandably, a sustainable product from the review process requires political commitment and time. The European Union will be pleased to join hands with the UNDP in providing support in this area. Achieving an updated standing orders under your leadership, Mr. Speaker, for the next fifth Parliament will be a strong legacy statement of your commitment to effective role of Parliament in the governance efforts of Sierra Leone. Mr. Deputy Speaker, Parliament, members of Parliament, ministers, deputy ministers, as all development partners, we have followed public discourse on government's white paper on constitutional reforms. I particularly noted the challenges identified by the Honourable Mr. Speaker for the Parliament given the current configuration. With the Gender Empowerment Bill already tabled before the House and the area of reforms proposed in the White Paper, I cannot but encourage cross-party dialogue around 30% quota proposition to promote gender representation in Parliament. I wish to reaffirm the European Union's commitment towards supporting Parliament in ways that open Parliament to more equitable gender representation. We look forward to continuous fruitful engagement and wish the Parliament of Sierra Leone the best success in implementing its ambitious plans to contribute towards an open, fair, transparent and accountable society for Sierra Leone. Thank you very much.
I will now at this juncture invite the Director of ICT, Information and Communication Technology, Mr. Joseph Conte, to take us through the e-Parliament, which is an initiative to encourage public access with the Republic of Sierra Leone. Mr. Conte.
My responsibility is to give a brief presentation on the e-Parliament system that has been funded by the European Union 11 EDF project for the Parliament of Sierra Leone and for the people of Sierra Leone. Ladies and gentlemen, the goal of the e-Parliament is short and brief. That its goal is to transform Parliament into an electronic working environment, moving the Parliament of Sierra Leone from a paper-based to paperless system, where members of Parliament, staff of Parliament, and the general public will have access, easy access, and also not just easy access, but Parliament will be transparent, open, and accessible to the general public. This particular system comes about from the challenges members of Parliament were facing before the 5th Parliament. So many parliamentary documents are developed for proceedings and ongoing legislations. All of these documents are so much bulky that it is difficult for members of Parliament to have all of these documents at a go. But with an e-Parliament and electronic system, thousands of documents will be sent to members of Parliament within a minute. Without or within Parliament presence, they can have access to these documents. They will be able to prepare themselves well for the legislation. The e-Parliament, supported by the EU, has 5 components. 1, it has the networking and security infrastructure. 2, it has the hardware and smart technology. In the smart technology, 250 iPad was bought that members of Parliament will use to have access to parliamentary documents through an internet portal that is set on a server that members of Parliament will get access to those parliamentary documents even if they are in their constituency and also when they are in Parliament and even if they are out of Parliament. The third component in that particular project has to do with the electronic Parliament softwares. The electronic Parliament softwares are divided into 3 folds. 1, we have the internet portal. The essence of the internet portal is to give members of Parliament an access to their physical pigeonhole, which has been transformed from a physical pigeonhole that members who have access to their parliamentary documents to an electronic pigeonhole. This electronic pigeonhole has a username and a password. The username that is tied to it is the constituency number of the 146 members of Parliament. And because members of Parliament who uses their physical pigeonhole to access parliamentary documents, this particular system has transformed that physical pigeonhole into an electronic pigeonhole. And members of Parliament can get the same access to those documents that they were accessing physically in the precinct of Parliament through their iPad, through the Parliament software. The fourth component of the project has to do with the live video streaming. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable leaders, as you can see at the back, this is a complete replica of what Parliament has moved to. We are having the open day here. Whilst the 4 regions are also participating, it is connected virtually. It is not limited to the state of. the same technology and infrastructure have been cascaded to the Chamber of Parliament. Parliament before now, the general public and the electorate will have access or opportunity to view sittings when they come to Parliament. It is so difficult that those that are 100 miles away, for instance, in Kenema or Kenema, do not have the access to parliamentary districts. But with the live video streaming system that has been set up, which is similar to what we have seen now, you can be wherever you are. It is a system that closes the gap that are on the issue of distance. Distance is no longer a challenge. The live video streaming system is seated on the chamber for every plenary deliberation. It is broadcasted live from the official Parliament of Sierra Leone website, which is www.parliament.gov.sl, which is also funded by the EU 11 EDF project, a robust, interactive, dynamic video website that communicates and also brings citizens closer to the Parliament and Parliament closer to the people.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker, and the EU Ambassador to the Republic of Sierra Leone. Ladies and gentlemen, as we proceed, I'm about to introduce somebody who has served in several capacities. One of which is that she served as head of PACO, Parliamentary Assistance and Coordination Office. She also served as director of DPAC, that is Department of Parliamentary Assistance and Coordination. And she is now the Director General, the first Director General of the Parliament of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Mrs. Tinda Pindoza. Please come forward and make the presentation on the sessional and financial report of the Parliament of the Republic of Sierra Leone.
Honorable members of Parliament, Deputy Minister of Communication, Ministers of Government present, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, development partners, Clerk of Parliament, parliamentary staffers, civil society organizations present, members of the court estate, representatives from the various schools, distinguished citizens of Sierra Leone. On behalf of the Parliamentary Service Commission, I have the honor and privilege of reporting on the performance of Parliament for the period 1st January 2021 to December 2021. Parliament Open Day, it's something that is new, I should say. It's a phenomenon. This is our second open day in the history of this Parliament, and we thought it fit that as Parliament, it's good to showcase what we're doing. People are out there, they don't know what Parliament is doing. They just think, oh, Parliament is only for parliamentarians and not for administrators. So when you even tell them that we have directorates in Parliament, they're shocked. They say, really? I thought it was only for MPs. So that's why we take upon ourselves to organize the open day with our development partners to see how we can showcase what Parliament is doing, what the administration wing is doing, what the parliamentarians are doing, and for people to have access to Parliament and to make Parliament accessible, with reference to our strategic goal 4, which says make Parliament open and accessible. In fulfillment of that strategic goal 4 is why we're engaged in the open day, and this is why we also make sure we do the open day on a yearly basis in fulfillment of strategic goal 4 of our strategic plan. At the end of the day, this will make Parliament become more open. People will have access to Parliament, and also this is a motivation for our staffers, for them to work more harder, and this will also improve their capacity because they have now contact to meet with citizenry and also It's also an eye-opener for the MPs to also meet with citizenry and for them to be asked questions, to know what they do, how they go about their job, and these are the results we're looking at, trying to create more accessibility for Parliament.
Under the office of the clerk are 14 directorates with responsibility ranging from administrative duties like human resources, finance, audit and compliance, public relations, to core functions of Parliament such as answers, committee and legislative services, to technical areas like information, communication and technology, capacity building, research and partnership through to logistics like procurement, transportation and security.
Starting with the Deputy Leader of Government Business, Honorable Bashir Siddiqui, who is also serving Parliament for the second term. Honorable Bashir Siddiqui.
Bringing more citizens to the Parliament of Sierra Leone. Parliament of Sierra Leone continues to demonstrate its responsiveness for the citizens of this country to take their rightful place in the process of lawmaking. Oversight and evaluation of public policies and legislation. We believe in this and have therefore created a space through our open legislative meetings, committee meetings, and the space we continue to build for the media and the civil society organization in the law of Parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that Parliament and CSOs in most countries have been constant confrontation and historically this has been the trend in Sierra Leone. I must say that such a contentious relationship has not helped citizens and in Sierra Leone. I must say that such a contentious relationship has not helped citizens and it is high time we start thinking about a new way of working to benefit the citizens of this country.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, Leader of the Opposition, leaders of political parties, ministers of government, and my colleagues, honorable members of Parliament, members of the diplomatic corps, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, somebody was following a parliamentary proceeding, and the person actually talked, say, from one thing I've seen at television, Parliament, it looks small. And I said to the person, that is perhaps you have not had an experience with the mosquito. Because anybody who gets experience with mosquito for 1 minute, if your impression about the mosquito was that the mosquito is very small, then after your encounter with the mosquito for 1 minute, I believe your impression will change. Some of us who had an experience with Parliament, and I see my colleague, Mama is smiling. We know that Parliament is a whole kingdom. You come to Parliament where you have all you jigijaga, then standing down first. You don't get no sign for holy complaint, and Parliament will do no wrong because Parliament are honorable men and women. Ladies and gentlemen, I really want I want to talk from the heart small. And I believe if His Excellency the President was here, he would have spoken from his heart. I am reliably informed that we are in the 4th session of the 5th Parliament, and after the state opening of Parliament on the 10th, we should be transitioning onto the 5th session of the 5th Parliament.
And so for me, the open day is a moment of reflection. And I say this because I think it was a Greek philosopher who had said, know thyself, for the unexamined life is not worth living. And I believe this is a moment where elected members of parliament and also persons who have been appointed to occupy positions of trust, we must be willing to submit ourselves first to self-examination, and second but most importantly to public scrutiny.
Another of our traditional partners, the European Union. You must have heard about the 11th EDF fund in terms of technical and infrastructural support to the Republic of Sierra Leone and also the Parliament of the Republic of Sierra Leone. Here is Mr. Amadou. Welcome, the European Union. Take Honorable Speaker through. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Right Speaker. Of course, the EU governance program, it has one of them is Parliament. We are also supporting MEC. We support also the civil service reform that comprises the Human Resource Management Office and the Public Service Commission. For the purpose of the visit, we limit ourselves in our last technical coordination meeting, we did by public. We started this since 2018 to date, and our plans next 6 months. And then also this book, we also have the European Union delegation, because the book is divided into two here for the governance, and then here for other projects that the European Union is supporting. As you can see here, this is Bandajuma, the border. Yes. Here under infrastructure, and then if we come here, we also support education. Yes, education. And then, sorry, here is agriculture, and then we have education here. Education, etc., etc. So we are supporting the government of Sierra Leone in different sectors. This book, as I mentioned, is purely for the European Union delegation, but unfortunately, they are representatives. None of them are around as a result of completing priorities. Okay. Once more, I saw somebody seated there just. I thought she was representing. And then one more thing, Honorable Right Speaker, the European Union also through UNOS, renovation of Parliament. We are also supporting that. The media, one more thing, I'm not representing the European Union delegation. If they are here, they should have said, of course, yesterday the ambassador said something about being support. I'm only doing it because I am the only person that is around representing the EU governance. Thank you very much. Well, so you want his signature? Let's start? Yes, of course. Thank you, Mr. Wood.
Madam, how are you?
Very well. Good to see you.
Saw you yesterday, and again I'm having the privilege.
You can't seem to get away from me. I wonder what's
Have you got your invitation to the state of